On to Tuesday's Times and predictions for just how many will be coming out to pay their respects to Her Majesty. Josh.
Well, this is it. So they're talking about a 5-mile queue because the best way, I think, to celebrate someone who embodied Britishness is to do something that embodies Britishness. And there's nothing more than that than queuing.
Correct.
So I feel like that is basically the best way for us to show our respect.
Ideally in the rain.
Yeah, forget all going and seeing the coffin. Let's just get in a queue. There's queues everywhere. That's what the country should do. That's how we show our respect, our Britishness. Because it's interesting, isn't it, this whole sort of the nation. And I think that's just the importance of the Queen. I think a lot of people are realising certainly what she gave and through her the monarchy, but that adds to our idea of being British.
Well, definitely. An interesting line from the highly respected historian Andrew Roberts in the Daily Telegraph, tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. We are seeing a Britain many feared was lost.
Yeah. And that's, silver clouds and whatnot. But I think at those moments, in the moments of births and the moments of death, that's when people take stock of their surroundings, their environment. And I think people have been affected deeply. And like I say, it's going to come out at different times over a long period of time. But part of that is realising that we are bonded somewhat. Yeah. This woman was in all of our lives, serving all of us so amazingly for such a long time. I think we're all connected by that.
But the question is, does that bond survive her passing?
Well, that is the big question, isn't it? Well, then it goes down to King Charles III.
Is it up to him? He's got the gig, right? And he can tap into that.
He can smash it home. Yeah. It's up to him to ruin it or not. I think it's been set up well as it can be. To sort of bring the comedy analogy into it. You're going out on stage, the lighting's there, everything's good, microphone's working.
You just followed Nick Dixon, who's torn the roof off.
Yeah, well, actually, I prefer it when he doesn't do that well, and then it's like their expectations are low. Anyway, but, it's for him to fail.
It's there for the taking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does he need to do? Does he just replicate his mother?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Stay out of politics.
Look, he's gone to great pains to sort of talk about how he understands that the role is different from what he was.
Does he mean it?
Well, that's going to be the question. And lots of people, the commentators, are saying that can a leopard change their spots? Or does it really matter? Or does the monarchy change with it? He's a human being. He has ideas. But the point is he becomes something greater than himself. He becomes a role. Yeah. And that's what he has to adopt. And we'll see if he can handle that or not.
Can he, Nick Dixon?
Well, that is a key question. It's interesting, the quote about a Britain we thought was lost, because had this been covered in, say, the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, there would have been a unanimous patriotic voice in the media and so on. Now, because of the joys of Twitter and 2022, we get to see the other side of how much unfortunate hatred there also is out there. And it comes from the far left with the pronoun people. It comes from certain race-obsessive people, Trevor Sinclair's bizarre moment, and some Republicans some are polite, some are not. And then the sort of...
also comes from America. A lot of that is America. Yes. And a lot of it's coming from Ireland.
Yes, a lot. That's true. And then there's a certain sort of people who so-called don't mind the Queen, people who I've spoken to in London, but they don't understand why the football's cancelled. So there's different degrees. But yes, it's good to see there is still that patriotic core of people, or people who just love the Queen. There's different motivations. But it's interesting how many people are going to be there, because they're talking about whether it will be more than the 1 million that came out for the funeral of Diana. So that will also be interesting to see. And as for your other question, yes, hopefully Charles can keep the monarchy on a sure footing. I think William is also the great hope, because he does seem very sensible. He does seem to have that sense of duty. And sometimes he goes a little bit woke. So as long as he can tone that side down, maybe he's the hope.
Well, will King Charles use William as Prince of Wales to be the campaigner, to pick up the baton?
Well, if he's clever, maybe yes. But I suspect he sees this as his moment. So I think the ego is going to come into it. He's still a human being.
To what extent does Charles need to make this his own? Because, you said, yes, he should follow the template of the Queen, which, by the way, she was faultless for decades.
Yeah.
But should he also put his own personality into it?
Well, times change and all of that. But But whether he goes too far or not, I don't know. But it's interesting. There is definitely a theme here where they're sort of trying to compare it, or like there's some sort of competition with Diana. They're going, a lot of these articles, they go, Diana had 1 million, and this is going to be 3. You know, is she going to have as many as Diana and all of this? So it's an interesting thing that they seem to be sort of unconsciously or not throwing up within these articles.
Yeah, there is that. And just to answer your other question, I think he has to put his own personality into it. If you think of things like that brilliant film, The King's Speech, where we see George VI had to put his personality into it. He was worried about taking on the throne after his brother abdicated. But I think the key is to put your personality into it, and then the world sees that and connects with you, much as they did with the Queen.
And what would that be? How will a Charles monarchy differ from that of Elizabeth?
Well, I think Charles is known to be a bit more emotional. He's a bit more touchy-feely. If you actually watch clips of him over the years, he is quite fun. He will take on various challenges. There's clips of him rapping and dancing and so on.
So there'll be a bit of banter and some humour.
Yeah, some humour, some banter.
And some hugging.
The question,
sounds like an evening with Dick Dixon.
The question is, will he continue some of his more questionable political ideas? Obviously, ones about the global Marshall Plan for the climate and so on. Those are the ones we're hoping. And he did hint that he would now put those kinds of things aside. So that's what I'm hoping for.